This episode is rated PE. Your PE teacher's guidance is advised.
Hello, Physiology geeks! In the previous episode, I presented the physiology checklist for safety to secure your safety and well-being in PE class. That means we're ready! When I was young, I thought that exhaustion from physical activities or from hard labor is just another form of punishment. As a punishment, I was ordered to run around, do push-ups, or perform stationary squats. Some teachers use exercise as a form of punishment, and they thought that was okay. Did you know that treadmills were originally invented to punish convicted criminals during the Victorian era? Prisoners had to endure long hours and hard work walking on treadmills to grind flour. I used to hate doing exercises, and I despised running. I hate the feeling of getting physically exhausted. My unpleasant experiences with exercise used as punishment may have caused me to avoid physical activities. And maybe you feel the same way too. If I did not become a physical educator, I'd probably be a couch potato. Today, let me at least try to help you create new experience with cardio workouts. I know it will take time, but every journey begins with a single step, and that first step is a change of perspective. Let's challenge ourselves to create a personalized exercise program. Let's begin. Before we engage in any exercise program, we need to specify our FITT, the frequency, intensity, time, and type of exercise. Choose the frequency of your workout. I would recommend you to choose 2 or 3 times a week as a beginner. Give yourself some time to rest too. As beginners, we should not jump right into vigorous intensity workout. Take it easy. Why don't we begin with 50 to 60% target heart rate? Oh, of course, let's do the math. According to the Carbonin formula, our heart's maximum heart rate within 1 minute is 220 minus our age. So if you are a 16-year-old teen, your maximum heart rate is 204 beats per minute. Take your resting heart rate first thing in the morning. Subtract the maximum heart rate minus the resting heart rate to get your heart rate reserve. Take note that if the heart rate flattens to 0 or exceeds its maximum heart rate, you better call the doctor, kiddo. So, for example, if you're a 16-year-old learner, let's suppose that your resting heart rate is 60 beats per minute and your maximum heart rate is 204 beats per minute. This gives us a heart rate reserve of 144 beats per minute. Given the recommendation 115 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic workout, we can plan our exercise program to last 1 hour and 15 minutes if we work out twice a week, or 50 minutes if we work out 3 times per week. In this episode, our focus is to enhance our cardiorespiratory endurance. Our workout will involve major muscles, particularly our legs and thighs, to make our hearts beat faster. But remember, our target heart rate as beginners is 50 to 60%. Our hearts will beat fast to sustain our working muscles with fuel and oxygen. Thus, our workout will use aerobic energy system. Our exercise program has 3 parts: warm-up, aerobic workout proper, and cool-down. At rest, your cardiovascular system and skeletal muscles only need 20% of the body's blood supply. The 80% can be found in our stomach, liver, kidney, brain, and other vital organs. If you suddenly decided to run, you would notice that after some time, you're running out of breath, you're getting dizzy, and feeling pain in your chest. That's because the sudden leap of intensity did not give your body enough time to increase the blood supply needed by your cardiovascular system to sustain your muscles with energy and oxygen. 20% blood supply is not enough to carry energy and oxygen. Worst case scenario, you'll black out because your brain did not get enough O2. This is why warm-up is important. Warm-up slowly increases the blood supply needed by the cardiovascular system to sustain our working muscles with fuel and oxygen from 20% to 80%. This amount of blood running through your arteries and veins is required for us to sustain aerobic exercise. Warm-up for a cardio exercise program is a low-intensity version of the workout proper that we are going to perform. So if we are going to run in the park, our warm-up can be walking or jogging. Static stretching is no warm-up in a cardio exercise program because that does not raise the cardiovascular system's blood supply. Remember that the systems that are at work here are the cardiovascular system and the respiratory system. Thus, the warm-up should also be specific for the breathing and circulating systems of the body. Besides, static stretching is for the joints and bones. It is said that you should not stretch cold muscles. In this episode of Physiology, we are going to look into some methods of training that we can do to make our aerobic workout interesting. Continuous training is the simplest method that we can use to enhance our cardiorespiratory endurance. The idea of interval training is to perform a short period of high-intensity exercise followed by a period of recovery or rest. But because we are still beginners, I suggest that we do not jump to doing high-intense exercise yet. My suggestion, we can begin with run, walk, run format of interval training. In this type of interval training, we can vary the speed of our activity. For example, a combination of walk, jog, run, sprint, and back to walk again. Or sprint, run, jog, walk, and back to sprinting again. Notice that in fartlek, we are playing with the speed of the activity. Thus, fartlek is also known as speed play. Roxanne and I set up 2 pylons where we do our calisthenics workout. We move from one pylon to the other pylon for recovery. Check out how we did it. Bootcamp workout could be intense for beginners. Let's do fewer reps and low-impact transition from one pylon to another if we want to do this method of training. Before we decide to suddenly stop, we should allow our blood supply to come back to its resting state. Our cardiovascular system and skeletal muscles have 80% of our body's blood supply during physical activity. When we suddenly stop, we are at risk of blood pooling in the lower extremities. Let's help our cardiovascular system return the 60% of blood supply to the vital organs of our body by doing cool-down exercises. I usually walk around, do breathing exercises, perform stretches, or do some floor exercises. Don't forget to check your pulse as well. When our heart rate is close to our resting heart rate, that's the only time we can be sure that we are safe to finally call it a day.